Hello, everybody. Welcome back to CMO Chats, and we continue our knowledge sharing mission through a series of interviews with marketing leaders from all over the world. And we are thrilled to have Carolyn with us today. Carolyn, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on CMO Chats. My name is Caroline Wiemann. I am the head of marketing for ON24 here at Asia Pacific.
Tell us about you and your role on ON24.
I am the marketing director here for ON24, so head of marketing for our region. Essentially, what that means is owning the go-to-market strategy for our region. Everything from localizing, regionalizing our go-to-market, our messaging, launching into net new markets such as Korea, enabling partners, and really kind of driving also our field programs that support revenue growth, of course. So as I say, you can see some hats on my walls. I wear multiple hats, but I think that's the reason why I love our marketing. Every day is something new, something different. So it definitely keeps it interesting.
I can definitely see the hat wall over there. That's so lovely. And given that you said you wear different hats every day, what is your main marketing focus at the moment?
Our main focus, I think every marketer will experience the same, is driving growth for the business. But when you look into it a level deeper, it's really orchestrating and ensuring that your marketing strategy is really delivering measurable outcomes to support your revenue growth. So for us, it's looking at not just revenue, but also pipeline. But even on a deeper level, you need to look at customer retention, upsell, cross-sell. So really driving measurable programs that deliver impact for your sales outcomes.
Talking about measurable outcomes, as you said, so those are like numbers, quantifiable items. So how do you define success in marketing nowadays?
Success really has to align with your core business objectives. And whether it's net new logo acquisition, it's retention, for us, obviously it's pipeline and revenue growth, but it's really supporting all those fundamentals. If your marketing KPIs are not aligning with sales, then that's a problem, because I always give this car analogy. Whether you're in sales, marketing, or customer support, every part of the car engine, every cog, every wheel needs to work together in order to drive those measurable outcomes. So for us, it's really like driving that alignment and supporting revenue growth.
The connection is super important between sales and marketing because you're like gears working together. But what would you say is the biggest challenge that marketers face today?
Oh my God, can I just name one, or is there multiple? I mean, I'll rattle them off. Look, the way we operate and the market we operate is completely different. Even it's transformed in the last 12 months, I would say. I think a lot of us marketeers are definitely under scrutiny to do more with the less or the same, driving that business growth, but also kind of balancing that fine act between brand versus demand. If you look at our marketing playbook, it's completely evolved. AI is taking now form. We need to implement it into our strategies. The way people search is completely different. I think even our buyers are completely different. They're younger buyers entering the market. They consume differently. If you look at Edelman, they actually note that over 50% of your buyers are hidden, right? So you have this buying committee, but 50% of your buyers are not part of your core ICP. So how are you influencing those? In this same report, 40% of those hidden buyers will block your sales deals from ever progressing. And 71% of those will never even interact with the sales rep. I think how we go to market is completely evolved. If you look at MQLs, the new narrative is MQLs are dead. Everyone is pivoting towards marketing qualified accounts. So I think the landscape has changed. So marketeers are now having to evolve their strategies to keep with today's pace.
I love what you said about there are hidden buyers, and how do we identify being able to still target them because they make a percentage of, our buying power and whatnot. What do you think is now the most successful or probably even most elaborate engagement piece that you've hosted because of these changes and with your current customers in mind?
For us, like engagement, we are an online platform. We provide online experiences, right? So traditionally, a lot of marketeers would have looked at third-party intent data to help drive some of their measurable tactics. With us, it's really looking at that first-party intent, like engagement data, really looking at the buyers. what content are they consuming, how are they consuming, what channel are they consuming, right? Because you have now a different demographic that is entering the workforce and entering the decision-making process. So your Gen Zs may love short format, short videos, quick and easy content, whereas older generations may love more in-depth. So I think for us, it's really understanding that channel mix. And one of the biggest key drivers that I loved, and I learned this tactic a couple of years back when I worked at Okta, because I really stepped into that digital role, is really looking at that hybrid approach when it comes to events. It's looking at how can you generate long tail impact beyond that one-time event and really incorporating a hybrid integrated strategy. I think a lot of marketeers are now pivoting from just like traditional back to basics, pre-pandemic integrated marketing motions, but really looking at how they can leverage AI to really generate that long tail effect. And I think that's what we're seeing now with engagement more than ever.
We've seen a lot of the adjustments throughout the years, like pandemic was all virtual events and all that. And now that we're at the post-pandemic stage, a lot of it is going back to physical. My additional question is like, how are you seeing the next couple of years turn out to be?
I think if you look at like Forrester's global report on B2B events, it's less of these large scale brand moments. It's really focusing, now we're entering an era where ABM, personalization, isn't a nice to have, it's a must. So when you look at budgets not being fundamentally larger, you're looking at how can I create more measurable impact? Do I sponsor a conference where maybe I can generate 1 or 2 sales qualified leads? Or do I look at targeting a smaller set of buyers and positioning my unique pain point? And then looking at how can I scale out that digital motion? As I said, I think post-pandemic, yes, everyone kind of shifted to face-to-face. But I think almost now we're at a point with overconsumption with face-to-face. People don't have the time. We do not have the time to go to 3 events a week. Your buyers are completely diverse. If you look at Asia Pacific, for me to do an event across every country, every city is just not feasible, and I will burn out. So it's really looking at that marketing mix and looking at how you can scale a lot of your digital efforts. And what we're actually seeing from a lot of our customers is they're pivoting to digital now. So they're almost pivoting away from face-to-face, running digital roadshows, or creating a hybrid motion. And I think I did the same. We had our digital ON24 event at the beginning of February, March. Almost seems like a lifetime ago, but I took again that digital component and really created a small roadshow scale that we could go within targeted accounts and have regionalized customers. And again, it's creating that motion and that content that's available for the people who want to consume in that format. Some people love face-to-face. Some people love virtual. So it's making sure that you're incorporating those 2 elements.
That is the mix that a lot of marketers need to learn now. It's how do you make it sustainable? How do you make it in such a way where you target different platforms, where you're looking at different campaigns? I do have one last question before we go to our next question, is that because a lot of people are used to, as you said, like the old ways of like, back to basics and all that. Now we have people wondering like, what more can virtual events give if they're not, seeing the person face to face outside of the, you don't need to travel?
I think our technology has come huge leaps and bounds. You have AI capabilities that really allow you to scale out these virtual events, but also in a very personalized format. So if you look at even like ON24 20 years ago is not the same ON24 that it is today. Today, you can create a virtual experience, but then have it completely customized and personalized, whether it's a persona, whether it's a market. So each platform and each user interface is completely unique. And I think that's what we're seeing more and more now with our virtual experiences, is being able to deliver the format, whether it's a roundtable discussion. I know you guys have a few virtual roundtables, or it's kind of this scaled virtual experience, but being able to create a personalized experience off the back of that. I often say to a lot of marketing leaders, like, one-shoe-fits-all approach no longer serves you. I think we understand a lot more about our buyers and being able to create those personalized outcomes. Like we know from our own digital engagement, if you create personalized experience, 61% of content downloads goes on because you're delivering the right content to the right person at the right time. Don't make them search for it. Don't make them wait for the thank you, no show email. that we know has about a 20 to 30% open rate. I think it's once you have your customer in, it's really trying to drive the right content to them so that you can almost shorten that long buying experience and long sales cycle that we all know and love today.
Personalize it and use the technology we have today to make that even more specific. So because you've been in the marketing industry for a couple of years already, what career advice would you like to give anyone that is starting in the marketing industry?
I fell into tech. I would say I graduated uni. I worked at FMCG first. I think for me, the biggest thing is find a leader that inspires you. Find an organization that really invests in you as a person. When you start doing your interview processes, you interview an organization as much as they interview you. And I think as someone who started their career new in tech, say yes. Say yes to every opportunity. Learn every facet of marketing, whether it's demand gen, to your field, to your digital, to your partner strategy. If there aren't opportunities, make opportunities for yourself. No one is going to hand it to you on a silver platter. I think I would say ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. I've always asked, and I've worked with my leaders. I've had great leaders in the past that have sent me off to digital courses because they saw digital was the next best thing. And I said, sure, why not? Developing a whole new go-to-market strategy for a whole new set of personas. I was like, cool, yes, sign me up. I did a podcast before podcasts were even the thing. So I think I would say, don't be afraid to dive into the deep end. Fail fast, learn quick. You're going to fail. No one learns from perfection. No product ever gets evolved from their first ideation. It's always a continuous learning and development. Like look at the iPhone, look at it now. It's come a long way, and I'm sure they've had multiple ideations. So fail fast, learn quick also. Don't be afraid to fail. I think we live in an era where perfection is almost expected. If you look at social media, it's very curated, photos are very photoshopped. And I think that has trickled now into our professional lives. But I think without testing, you won't know what works, what doesn't work, especially in a market that's evolving so rapidly.
You can't ever achieve perfection, but you can aim for it. So definitely always trying and asking if you need help or asking for opportunities is really such a great advice. What's a piece of traditional leadership advice now that you believe doesn't apply to modern marketing leaders?
I would say follow the playbook, best practices. I mean, what worked for us a year ago doesn't necessarily work. Like if you look at SEO, SEM, traditional, they would have been your top 3 channels. With AI, with LLMs, that has completely changed the landscape. It has completely changed how we produce content. So whilst I'd say best practices, yes, I think 60% is still relevant. I think there's still that 40% where we need to create nuances, reiterate, and find new ways and means to go to market. So I think, yeah, best practices isn't always the best practice.
And you never know, because if you don't innovate or try, you won't find out if that also works.
Exactly.
I have 2 last questions for you. What does the future of marketing look like in a more holistic standpoint?
Future of marketing, oh my goodness, I've been asked this before at an event. Look, I don't have a crystal ball that I can look into and say, this is going to be the next 5 years. I think I kind of noted it today. If you look a year ago, like it's already changed so much. If you said 5 years ago, the MQL is dead, you would have lost your mind because that was what we fundamentally anchored to, right? But it's always a changing. Our buyers, how they consume is changing. So we need to move with the same motions. If you said at the Super Bowl, a tech company would have advertisements and billboards, people would have laughed at you. But now we're implementing a lot of these like B2C practices within our B2B. But I think the basics don't change. You still got to know your customer and what pain point you're still trying to serve. You got to build that trust and affinity. How are you going to get that product out to market and making sure that the pricing is correct? And that goes back to the 4 Ps: product, place, price, promotion, that we learned back in uni. So whilst I think a lot of the landscape, tech, AI, like you have agentic AI agents, I think eventually there'll be a team that solely focuses on marketing to those AI agents. But I think in principle, the 4Ps will never change. So I think the fundamentals will always remain the same. Just how we go to market will differ with nuances.
Like 60% of the best practices are always going to be there. They may change a bit, but a lot of the core values and whatnot are those that will stretch out for maybe, more years. So my last question for you, Carolyn, is how would you describe the role of the marketing leader or CMO in one word, and why?
One word. I think marketeers or CMO roles have become more of the strategist. We have definitely become more strategic, because when you look at other functions, right, with sales, you have sales and you have pre-sales. But with the marketing, you have so many facets that belong within marketing, whether it's brand, whether it's corporate, whether it's PR, digital. I mean, field, there's so many different elements. And as a marketing leader, it's your role to strategically ensure that there's complete alignment and orchestration amongst those, not only within our marketing department, but also within our key stakeholders across the business. So I think being a strategist or juggler, whatever it may be, but I think those are great words to describe our current role as marketing, because we do juggle a lot and we are delivering measurable outcomes, and we are becoming more scientific, I think, in our go-to-market approach, because we have the data and the analytics now to support it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again so much, Carolyn, for joining us for CMO Chats.
Thank you for watching CMO Chats with the Ortus Club. Catch my full interview on Spotify.